It feels like today more than ever that we live in a crock pot, in a pressure cooker that is getting ready to pop. Every day the news, crime, politics, disasters, it's just getting much worse. I've been struggling with trying to determine courses of action, what to do, how to think, how to feel about it, how to process it, because in a way it feels like we're mourning the loss of humanity. Now, I'm not military, ex-military, I'm not some mega badass. I'm just an everyday dude, a father, a husband, a Christ follower who's trying to look out for my family, defend what I have been blessed with by God, and navigate this really difficult time in history. So to kind of help shift our attention, I mean, me as a guy especially, I really dive into when there's a problem, I just want to solve it. I want to figure something out. And so in that vein, this is kind of what I'm doing now, how I'm feeling now about where to go in the coming days. Regarding preparedness, I know the gear is really fun, the EDC tools, all that kind of stuff is flashy and sexy, but it all does start with your mindset and your skills. Regarding mindset, faith is my biggest priority in life. Well, I mean, at least I say that. I try and have that be my biggest priority in life. Sometimes I fail. That's kind of my compass, my North Star that I try and return to. And so God is kind of the foundation of this process for me. And I want to root my approach, my plans, my gear, my skills, everything in peace, not in panic, not in fear. Now I'm gonna be making an EDC update in the future, but just talking kind of basic principles, where to start, what I'm doing regarding my on-body EDC. First and foremost, is carrying a gun, carrying a firearm. You can only defeat violence by either meeting or exceeding that level of violence, or succumbing to the violence. But that's not actually defeating it, that's just dying. So regarding the gun, I'm trying to level up which firearm I am carrying. I'm going a little bit heavier, a little bit more capacity, and a little bit more shootability in terms of how quickly and accurately I'm able to send rounds downrange with my handgun. No handgun that you choose can compete with the lethality and ease of use that a rifle has. However, you can make steps to close that gap just a little bit in terms of your capability with the platform. But skill, hands down, is going to be the biggest way to close that gap. With that gun, I'm choosing to dry fire more. I'm choosing to live fire more. Shooting is a very perishable skill. It's not necessarily like riding a bike where you just pick it back up again. There's so many minute details that go into controlling a gun, sending rounds downrange, transitioning targets, maintaining situational awareness, maintaining awareness as to how full or empty your gun currently is as you're engaging, moving, communicating, all those kinds of things really do fly out the window, especially when your brain shuts down and you can't make rational decisions anymore because you're in fight or flight. So really getting comfortable with your tools, because on the day that you have to use that, that's going to be your worst day, and you're going to be required to perform at your very best. Moving on from the guns, carrying a knife as well, a blade. I'm not a huge fan of only having one weapon to rely on, so having a blade that I can work in close proximity is important to me, especially when you're traveling to places where you may or may not be able to bring your firearm. You'll be more than likely able to at least retain your blade weapon. Carrying a flashlight for positive identification, as well as with my light that I currently have, having the ability to punch out a window here with that spike or use it as almost a brass single knuckle is important, because the more potential weapons that I have available to me, the better, in my opinion. And then additionally, carrying medical, knowing how to use it, knowing how to deploy it at a proficient level, like kind of a basic level, being comfortable with those principles and those foundations of plugging holes, stopping bleeding, because that can absolutely be the difference between life and death. And it is much easier to take a life than it is to save a life. So next up, looking at home and family preparedness, having guns around the house locked securely so that my daughter can't get into them and injure herself or someone else, but making sure that I have easy access at every level of the house. Making sure my wife knows where they are, knows how to operate each different platform that I have staged. We have a bulldog. Having a dog that is big enough to at least buy you some time, potentially do some damage, and most importantly, give you early warning, because they can hear and smell things that we can't, and they'll let me know when someone's at the door before I'm even aware. Security locks are important. Having security systems are definitely a plus. But if I could only have one, I would definitely pick the dog. Communicating with your family, making sure that you have a plan if things go wrong at the house, because statistically, they are more likely to happen down at the house than anywhere else. But also in the vehicle, if you're out and about. When stuff goes down and you can follow the plan, it helps the panic not to set in nearly as much. A pretty huge thing regarding the home especially, but also just being out and about, is situational awareness. Making sure that when you're closing the garage door, your back's not turned to it. When you're getting in the car, you're locking doors ASAP, and you're watching as people get in the vehicle. You're looking at mirrors, checking things before you get out or get in, unlocking the door at the last second possible as you're approaching your vehicle. Things like this, really keeping your head on a swivel and doing your best to not look like a soft target, because a lot of criminals don't want to fight. They don't want to put up with resistance, and they just want an easy day, whether they're trying to take something off you or take your life. Additionally, part of not being a soft target is your level of fitness, how you treat and train your body, how you fuel your body, how you recover. So prioritizing that is an absolute must, because at the end of the day, when you strip away all the tools, all the weapons, and it's just you, this is the main weapon. This is the vehicle in which you can defend, you can protect, you can defeat evil with. If you don't have this, you don't really have anything. So what I'm doing, I'm strength training, I'm prioritizing sleep, I'm really paying attention to what I'm putting in my body, making sure that things are as clean, as natural, as filtered as possible. Still taking time to enjoy life and enjoy myself, but trying to find a nice balance there. In addition to your body, keeping your mind sharp is extremely important, making sure that closing the amount of time it takes for me to run the OODA loop or to problem solve really quickly and with difficult decisions to make. And there are ways that you can kind of train that on a micro level, so that hopefully at a macro level, it'll click a little bit faster. And then when it comes to the bags, the home plan, the vehicles, making sure that you have medical kits staged and life-saving tools redundantly ready to go. Looking at blending preparedness into your daily life, not necessarily, we don't all have the luxury of bugging out and getting off the grid, shutting down our lives to focus on becoming the most dangerous man kind of deal. So finding ways so for me, things like going camping more, getting comfortable, loading the vehicle with the camping gear that we need quickly, more efficiently, and without wondering where things are. So organizing that stuff as well, staying on top of wear items in those categories and replacing things and maintaining those things well, because I want to be a good steward. Hiking, getting in the outdoors a bit more. I'm trying to get into hunting a lot more this year. So all of these things are enjoyable. They're a ton of fun at face value, but at the end of the day, the reasons why are deeper than enjoyment, than getting outside to decompress and disconnect from the modern world. Those are absolutely benefits again, but it stems from wanting to be a better provider, a better protector, a better prepared man for my family. I'm kind of at the point where I haven't gone camping in a really long time. I have a trip scheduled pretty soon here, and to be honest, I wasn't very excited about it because I live in a comfortable home, comfortable environment. We got everything we need, but at the end of the day, it's not about being and staying comfortable, because that only degenerates, in my opinion. Without discomfort, without pain, without stress, your muscles won't grow. And the same can be said for your skills, your mindset, and your ability to be a net plus and an asset to your community and society. I think that's a pretty massive reason why we have found ourselves in this problem in the first place, in terms of where our country is headed. Not gonna lie, in terms of like the vehicle, I am, before I was not really a truck gun proponent, not really a truck gun guy. I wasn't outspokenly against it or anything. I don't think that people who do it, I didn't think that people who do it are foolish, irresponsible, or idiots, depending on how you approach that. I think there are irresponsible ways to approach the truck gun setup, but I'm not gonna lie, now I am thinking much more about the truck gun, having a loadout for that, having a more capable loadout that can kind of support that rifle, and whatever actions would accompany deploying that. So potentially I might make a video coming out on that, because I haven't yet implemented it, but I am probably on the cusp of about being ready to do so. So if any of you guys have tips or examples of what you're doing, I'd love to hear them, because there's a lot of ways to skin that cat, and I want to make sure that I'm doing it right, I'm doing it practically and safely and responsibly. So yeah, I know this video wasn't really like a flashy one, there's no B-roll, but my heart is broken right now. It's really broken. And I feel At first, I felt quite powerless in this situation, as if it's just going to happen to us. We're here for the ride, and if we're cooked, we're cooked. But I do think it's important to remember that we do have agency. We have the ability to love our neighbor, to pray for our enemies, but we also have the ability to protect ourselves, to defend what God has blessed us with, what He's given to us, and to not bend to lies, to evil, to Satan, because we are in this world and not of it, and we are absolutely called to hold steadfast in our faith, in our beliefs, in what we know to be true. And it's starting to turn into a reality of you either bend or you're put to the sword. Fortunately, we're in a period of time where we can have a sword, and I think it's time to become extremely proficient in those arenas for the benefit of our families, of our lives, and of this society. So I don't want to stoke fear here, guys. I don't want to speculate or project what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. I just want to, for myself, be ready for anything. And if the worst comes, we can deal with it then. We'll have the tools, we'll have the knowledge, we'll have done what we can now to face that head on. But if it doesn't come, then we'll wait. We'll continue to quietly prepare, and we'll fulfill our duties as men here on this side of heaven. I love you guys. I'm praying for you guys. Stay safe out there, really. Draw close to your families. Hug your wives, hug your kids. You never know when it's going to be your last time doing so. Man, this is a sad video. It's kind of dark. Took a dark turn. But more gear videos coming out. And if this video is well received, I would love to do more stuff like this in the future. Thank you guys. Take it easy. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.